Hi morning everybody, it's Nick. More about living without armour, and it is actually purely living without armour. So firstly, on LinkedIn yesterday I saw a feeder discussion about people who do vlogs in the car and whether that's okay or not. I do. I do vlogs wherever I need to, because I just do them in the moment, very raw, very unfiltered, as the thought hits me, because I don't want to lose the thought. And what I hope is that people are drawn to the message and the content as opposed to where I am or what I look like. So that's just my take on that. Secondly, the living without armour. So there's three things. There are three things that I think is really important about why we need to live without armour and why we need to kind of show up and own up wholly as ourselves. Firstly, it's the fear. It's the fear of being found out, which is exhausting, because you're constantly worried. The anxiety that goes with that. Did I come over in the right way? Did they see something I didn't want them to see? Did I say something wrong? Do they now think something or whatever? That fear of being found out is just it's just really exhausting. I actually don't have that, but I'm 47 years old and it's taken me a long time to get there. And I would really like this message just to reach one person and perhaps help them to get there more quickly. Because if you are presenting your whole self, there is no fear of being found out, because you are who you are. And people can kind of take it or leave it. And the people who take it, it's fantastic, because you have a genuine, real connection and you don't have to hide anything. And for the people who leave it, you're never going to have a connection, so there's nothing to be lost in the first place. The second thing is, I think that if you only project part of yourself to the world that you think the world wants to see, number one, it's probably keeping back the really interesting, fantastic parts of you that would be of real value to other people. And number two, it's very lonely, because what happens is the bits that you're keeping from the world and you're keeping to yourself are the bits where you probably need to share and to connect with people on the most, because they're probably your most vulnerable parts. Okay, and therefore it's a vicious circle. The bits that you need the most help and support and acceptance around are the bits that you're getting the least support and connection around, because you're not showing them to anybody. And thirdly, I think it means we're all colluding. And what I mean by that is we're colluding in creating a false reality, because we're only presenting what we perceive to be the good bits of ourselves. And what that does is it sets a level of standard and expectations that none of us can ever possibly reach, because they're not real. So we spend our life trying to reach this standard or achieve something that, we constantly feel a failure about, which makes failure negative, which I don't think it is actually. I think failure is just a step to something else, but it also makes us feel very inadequate. Okay, so I think that's really important, because if each of us show up and own up as we are, wholly as ourselves, we get true connection with the people that it really matters with. We get the support with the really vulnerable parts of us and the bits that we need to have accepted, and we create a much truer reality, which just makes it a hell of a lot easier for us all to operate within. And if I'm honest, I really think there is a massive connection with this and the rise in the mental health issues we're seeing and so forth, because I think we're all getting lost. I think we're all getting lost and we're losing the core of who we are, because we're only presenting a part of ourselves on a daily basis. So I think it's massively important that we're all able to step forward wholly, warts and all, strengths and weaknesses. That's what's part of the messy thing about being human, and it's also what's part of the beautiful thing about human and where real connection happens. So please, if you can, show up and own up. And I know it's not easy. When I first started doing this, God, I felt so vulnerable. But the thing that was worse than the fear of actually showing up as myself was regret of getting to the end of my life and looking back and not being who I could have been. And that was far worse than the fear. So that was the balance of change for me. And I hope this has helped somebody somewhere, and have a great day. All the best. Bye.